I had a friend ask me how fast my Apollo City Pro could go. I said it had a top speed of 52 kilometers per hour, and he said, that's too fast. It's one of many arguments against PEVs, not just scooters, and some of these arguments are even followed up with the opinion that they should be banned. So in this video, I will share my views in opposition to 5 bad arguments against PEVs. Those things are too fast. Some people believe that PEVs are too fast and therefore inherently unsafe. However, the reality is that the speed of these vehicles is generally not excessive and can actually enhance their safety and practicality in certain situations. Firstly, it is important to note that the top speed of most PEVs is typically between 24 and 48 kilometers per hour, which is not significantly faster than a typical cyclist. Additionally, the speed of PEVs can actually enhance their safety as they are able to keep up with the flow of traffic and avoid being hazards on the road. When used responsibly and in accordance with local regulations and safety guidelines, PEVs can provide a safe and efficient mode of transportation. That's not to say increased speed can't lead to more hazardous situations. In the Netherlands, for example, they had an increase in cyclist deaths for the first time in nearly half a century, and this spike was nearly entirely the result of elderly riders on e-bikes. They aren't for everyone. It is worth noting that the speed of PEVs can be adjusted based on the needs and preferences of the riders. Many e-bikes and electric scooters, for example, come with adjustable speed settings that allow riders to control their speed and power output. And when my friend told me my scooter was too fast, I asked him how fast his BMW 3 Series could go, and he sheepishly didn't want to answer because in that moment, he understood. PEVs are not inherently dangerous, but rather it depends on how they are used and where they are ridden. And by promoting safe and responsible use of PEVs and investing in infrastructure and regulations that support their use, cities can create a more sustainable and efficient transportation system that benefits everyone. Some people argue that using electric power to assist with transportation is cheating because it takes away from the physical effort and skill required to ride traditional bikes or scooters. They argue that by relying on electric power, riders are not getting the same health benefits and sense of accomplishment as they would from riding a non-electric vehicle. Drivers may see using all kinds of PEVs as cheating because they perceive riders as not contributing to the same level of effort and skill required to operate a car, all while becoming a nuisance, especially if they're sharing the road and have to navigate around them. They may view PEVs as a form of shortcut that allows them to skip the red tape involved with car ownership. However, these arguments overlook the fact that there are many reasons why someone might choose to use a PEV. For example, they may have physical limitations that make it difficult or impossible to ride a traditional bike or scooter, or they may be looking for a more convenient and efficient way to get to work. Additionally, many people find that using a PEV can still provide a workout and sense of accomplishment, especially if they're using it for recreation, with some research showing that even mountain bikers who use e-bikes end up riding further and faster, reaching 94% exertion compared to non-electric counterparts. And on the car side of the argument, the use of PEVs can actually help alleviate traffic congestion by reducing the number of cars on the road and allowing for more efficient use of space. I mean, an ex-driver now on an e-bike is no longer taking up a parking spot. So by promoting the use of PEVs, cities can encourage more sustainable and efficient forms of transportation that will benefit everyone, including drivers. But the question of whether riding any PEV is cheating depends on one's perspective and goals. For some people, the physical effort and skill required to ride a traditional bike or scooter are an important part of the experience, and they may view using electric power as cheating. For others, the convenience and efficiency of PEVs outweigh any concern about cheating and make them a practical and enjoyable option for getting around. And to those who say it's cheating by avoiding the red tape of vehicle ownership, I say come on in. The water's warm. PEVs are just not practical. You may hear that PEVs aren't practical for everyday use or not practical for all trips. They are limited in the range and speed and cannot travel as fast or as far as a car, while at the same time having far less cargo, if any. And they're right, PEVs are not practical for all trips. In fact, they are only practical for about 60% of all urban trips. It's important to note that many PEVs have a range of up to 50 kilometers or more, which is more than enough for the majority of trips or commutes. In addition, many PEVs can travel at speeds of up to 25 or 48 kilometers per hour, which is often faster than the average speed of traffic in urban areas. Check out my video on that subject. On the other hand, it is important to recognize that cars are not the all-purpose practical transportation method that conventional wisdom claims they are. While cars are often seen as a symbol of freedom and mobility, the reality is that they can be expensive to purchase and maintain and emit a significant amount of noise and pollutants into their local environment. Cars are often impractical for short trips or commuting in urban areas, where traffic congestion and limited parking can be major issues. They may also be less convenient than PEVs for certain types of trips or for transporting small items or packages. I mean, think about this. Is it practical to bring 5,000 pounds of your stuff with you when you need to buy a bag of milk? Because that's what you do when you drive your car to get anything less than what could be carried with a PEV. At the end of the day, while PEVs might not be the perfect transportation for all, it certainly should be the better choice for the majority of trips in a city. They are silent. While it is true that some PEVs, such as electric scooters and EUCs, can be relatively quiet compared to traditional bikes and other modes of transportation, this does not necessarily make them unsafe. Some types of PEVs may be quieter than bicycles, depending on the specific type of PEV and the conditions in which they are being used. For example, an electric scooter or electric unicycle will generally be quieter than a traditional bike because they have an electric motor that propels them forward rather than pedals and a chain. However, an electric bike may make more noise depending on the type of motor it has and how it is being used. And that is all at low speeds. As soon as you get above 20 kilometers per hour, the tire noise will be loud enough to make PEVs and traditional bikes indistinguishable to the untrained ear. And more importantly, most new models of PEVs are equipped with safety features such as bells, horns, and headlights, which can alert other road users to their presence and enhance their overall safety. And the safety of any mode of transportation depends on a range of factors beyond just noise level, including the behavior of other drivers and riders, the condition of the road, and the level of infrastructure and regulations in place to support safe and responsible use. In many cases, the relatively quiet operation of PEVs actually makes riders more aware of their surroundings and more cautious when interacting with other road users. Additionally, PEVs can be less disruptive and more compatible with other modes of transportation, particularly in crowded urban areas where noise pollution and congestion can be a major issue. By reducing noise pollution and minimizing disruption, PEVs can create a more livable and sustainable urban environment that benefits everyone. In general, while some types of PEVs may be quieter than bicycles, this is not necessarily a negative thing. As long as they are being operated safely and responsibly, which I can't stress enough, PEVs can provide an efficient and eco-friendly alternative to traditional modes of transportation. It is the responsibility of all riders, not just PEV riders, to make their presence known to others by using a bell or their voice. They aren't that green. While it is true that the production and disposal of PEVs, like all consumer goods, have environmental impacts, it is important to recognize that they are still a significantly greener option than the main mode of transport in much of the world today, cars. The production of PEVs does require the use of rare earth metals, which can have negative environmental impacts if not managed properly. However, the impact of mining these metals is small compared to the impact of extracting and refining oil for gasoline, which is the primary fuel for cars. Additionally, the technology for producing and recycling these metals is constantly improving, which is reducing the environmental impact of their production. While it is true that the electricity used to charge batteries of PEVs does come from a power grid that is often powered by non-renewable sources such as coal and natural gas, the shift towards renewable sources like wind, solar, and hydroelectric dams like here in BC is rapidly accelerating. This means that as time goes on, the energy used to power PEVs will become increasingly green. Even if we still relied on burning things to produce electricity, the impact would still be a fraction of what is produced by gas-burning cars. With most e-bikes and scooters weighing around 30 kilograms or less, while America's favorite car, the F-150, weighs as much as 2,250 kilograms. And the same goes for electric cars as well. Their increased weight will lead to higher electricity usage when compared to PEVs, with the F-150 Lightning weighing as much as 3,100 kilograms. Which also comes with the worry of battery production and recycling, but on a scale that might actually be something to worry about. Consider this. The battery of a single F-150 Lightning is equivalent to over 220 Rad Rovers, 150 Apollo City Pros, or 48 veteran Abrams. And that's the energy used. There's also brake pad dust and tire particulates that will be much more of an issue in both electric and gas-burning cars. Overall, while it is true that PEVs are not perfect and do have some environmental impacts associated with their production and disposal, they are still a significantly greener option than cars, gas, or electric. And at the end of the day, all of those arguments miss an important point, which is that PEVs can be a reliable, low-cost, low-emission alternative to driving for those who are hesitant to take transit or ride a traditional bicycle. And while we look forward to a future where we can get most of our daily moving on foot, bicycle, or transit, PEVs are a great alternative to driving in the meantime. Instead of banning or severely limiting them, we should be looking at how to integrate them safely into our communities. So those are 5 arguments against PEVs. Let me know what you thought, and let me know if you've heard of any bad arguments about PEVs in the comments below. My name is Nick. Thanks for watching.